Okay. There we go. Now we've got it recorded for the YouTube.
Let's see. The secretary didn't do much this month if we're recording stuff. Let's see. We did some reviewing of some marketing brochures, and we're going to get the operational handbook on the website. As soon as the meeting's over, I'll do that. And we purged the Facebook group of the non-members. I'm looking through the minutes from last month. And I think that's all I have in review of that.
Okay. Any other secretary business?
No?
Okay. We'll go on to the treasurer report. So Michael, if you want to.
Yeah, so we are now officially incorporated. We heard back from the state, so we're incorporated as American Coturnix Breeders Association, Inc., which meant we were able to open a bank account. So we now have a business bank account, so we can start conducting formal transactions. We can set up whatever we need to on the website. We've been taking membership dues through my personal account. So I set up a test transaction to make sure that everything flows smoothly from that to the business account. And if that clears in the next couple of days, because I transferred them Friday, I transferred $500 on Friday and it hasn't shown up yet. So assuming that shows up without any issue, I'll transfer the rest. I think we have, let me check, $2,239 in the ACBA account. So I'll transfer the remainder of that over this week, and then it'll all be official, and we'll do reimbursements for anybody who has done anything for us. I know I need to reimburse myself for the incorporation documents, and we need to reimburse Rebecca for website expenses. So I think that'll come out a little bit less than half of the dues we've collected. So it'll leave a nice balance saved up for other club activities. So we've got a few things laid out for that and how much we want to basically put into some sort of savings versus spend in different budgets. And we can figure out what to do with that later. But always good to have a little bit on hand in case we need it, make sure we don't overspend for next year. So we'll talk more about that later.
Absolutely. And then do you want to give a quick thing about what the process looks like for the receipts and reimbursing people so that that's pretty clear for everyone?
Yeah. So the account we're using doesn't allow us to set up fancy debit cards or anything like that. We only get one. So what we're going to do is for the foreseeable future, for any type of expenses, just have people email the official info@coturnixbreeders.com email address their receipts, and then we're going to keep all of the receipts in a file on the Google Drive. And we also have a reimbursement spreadsheet on there for when they got reimbursed and the date that took place, so that we have a record of all of that. And we also have all the receipts. So that's going to be our process for now. And if the club grows and we want to set up petty cash accounts or things like that, we can do that later. But I think short and simple is going to be good for now. So that's our plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to the vice president's update. Rebecca is not able to be here. She's not feeling the best. So normally we'd go over membership updates. I believe the last time I checked, we were at 77 members. I don't have the exact breakdown, but I know that it is available, and we can ask Rebecca as soon as she's feeling a little bit better to post that in the Facebook group. And then she can also post any other updates that she has. Yeah, that is as far as the vice president, what she would typically cover. The next we have on the agenda is the standard update. Michael, do you want to take that one?
Sure. So we've been a little back and forth about the standard and the timeline and what we can do now versus what we can do later. And we just wanted to sort of take a few steps back and get our bearings and just wait until we hear back from everybody involved and all of the industry experts that we want input from and put something really nice together and then we'll throw a draft together based on that, publish that and get comments and input from anyone in the industry once that's on the website. So yeah, we talked about it quite a bit, and I think we'd thrown something based on the German standard or what was on the Pips and Chicks website on there. Some people were getting upset that we were rushing it, and we don't want to look like we're rushing it because we're not. We're not making anything official yet, and so we just thought let's make sure all of this looks consistent. So if people are dying to get a standard, they can reach out to any of us for advice on how to breed their quail. We definitely want to be a resource, but as far as putting a standard out there, we make sure that it's really, really good and in the best interest of everyone in the industry before we do anything in any official capacity. So all I'd say, it's a long process and we're trying not to rush it, and there's plenty of other things for us to do. We're definitely busy with all the other things, so it's not the only thing we have going on. But on that note, we sort of wanted to, I guess we can wait for the end of the meeting, get anyone's opinions on what types of things we should be prioritizing and maybe get to know some of the members and their interests a little bit better.
Yeah. Let's go through new business really quick and then we can touch on that a little bit. We'll save the newsletter for the end of new business because that kind of ties right into what you had just mentioned, getting more member feedback and letting people talk and discuss a bit. So we'll go to articles for the website and creating of a committee. We had talked a little bit about it on the last few meetings. We really would like to get a committee together to look over articles. So the committee would be in charge of vetting the authors and the writing, making sure it's accurate, making sure it's up to date, making sure it's not filled with grammar errors or anything, and basically communicating with the authors to for anything else, like if there's spelling errors that need to be changed, if there's information errors, or even formatting pictures, things like that. And also like different subjects, trying to reaching out to people. We have one article on the website so far from Joey Atreides. I believe I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. And we'd love to have more. There's a lot of people that really enjoyed the article. It was a really nice read, really well put together. So if anyone has any article ideas, it can be about your personal experiences. It can be about things you've done research in. It can be about just about any topic. So it doesn't have to be genetics or anything like that. It can be like how you keep your quail. It can be any sort of topic. So we'd love to see it. And we've got a form out there. I believe it's on the website at the very least. It's in the Facebook group that you can fill out with your article link, your name, a little bit of a short bio about you, and then right now the officers will review all of the articles, and we'll go through and make sure it's accurate and everything like that. But until we can get the committee in place. So as soon as we can do that, we'd like to kind of let other people take that and have it'd be nice. We were talking, it would be wonderful to have a big range of people. So some that are experts in the field and focus really in depth on the scientific type of articles, and people that like just average hobby breeders that can make sure that it's readable and understandable, and that and also the high level scientific people in there to make sure it's accurate, and having a full mix of people from all sorts of different backgrounds to make sure that it's engaging and interesting. So if anyone's interested in being on that committee, in running that committee, please reach out to one of the officers and talk to us. We'd love to have someone be able to take the reins on that. So did any of the officers have anything to say on articles, the website, anything I might have missed?
I mean, you sort of said it, but the article from Joey is exactly what we're looking for because it's scientifically accurate. It's an interesting perspective from an industry expert who's worked with wild Coturnix. And so even someone who's raised, I thought it was a really interesting read, and there were things in that that I didn't know. So really good perspective, interesting read, and applicable to the average Coturnix keeper. So that's kind of, I would say, an ideal example of the kind of information that I want on there. But obviously we could cover all kinds of subjects, and hopefully it becomes a really good resource for people to just go for fun reading or to learn, or if they are having a problem with their quail or their flock, to go and try to find a topic that's relevant to them. So yeah, I thought it was a great start.
I personally would be interested in some links to some science studies on different things concerning quail. And I think we should open up the articles if we find studies that are accurate and well written. We could include those links also.
That's a great idea. So if anyone's doing their own research and find something that's really interesting to them, if you can email that to info@coturnixbreeders.com, we'll take a quick look and post that on there right with Joey's article, so we can get a whole list going. That'd be really good.
Absolutely. Another thing I think we had talked about, and we hadn't started yet, we had talked about putting a page in the articles about NPIP, and just like an overview of what it takes, because each state has slightly different requirements on there, and it's kind of all over the place. Some states you have to go to a specific place and get them tested. Some you have to get tested for multiple things. So that is something we had talked about too, putting on an article there, and just each state, really short summary of what you would have to do for NPIP requirements as of right now. So yeah, if there's anyone in particular that has their experience about NPIP and can share, go ahead and send us a message on just what it took for you, whether that was going to a person to get tested, and what your state was too, because that's like the main separation. So
we could create a post on the Facebook group about the NPIP, and then everybody could post for their state there, and then I could condense it into a readable argument, that article, not argument, that way. If all the information is in one place.
Yeah,
that's
Wanna do
probably a
that?
good idea. Tell me if you have a better way to organize this, but if you did the post and then made a comment for all 50 states and people could reply to that comment, so you could see if someone already covered your state or not. That way we don't have 50 people from Missouri or Georgia, states where there's tons and tons of NPIP farms, and then nobody from Alaska, and the one poor person in Alaska who wants to learn how to get NPIP has no idea what they're doing. So that'd be that's just off the top of my head a way we could organize it.
Yeah, we could do it that way.
If you got that way to do that, that's less work, then
yeah, and then you can, and then I would just, or whoever's writing it, me or whoever, would just be able to go to those missing states and get that information.
yeah, we just have to make sure we want to double check that with the state NPIP requirements. So some of them may be out of date. I know they change a little bit, but just making sure that that's the most.
Well, they're gonna change by tester anyway, so I'm in a different district than Rebecca is, and my tester's really lax and hers is really strict. So, I mean, we're not gonna be able to be very
Yeah.
detailed that way, so.
I think
Yeah,
it's a good thing in general, because some people, let's say you're in Georgia, they come and they pay for everything and do it all for you, and it's super easy. And if you're in Arizona, you've got to buck up $400 for all the testing supplies. So that would just be good for everyone to know, oh, in my state, this is what I've got to do. I just have to
Yeah.
make a phone call or I need to order all this stuff. So I think that's mostly what people are looking for, is just a step-by-step guide of what to expect. So
Yeah, for sure. Jennifer, do you want to put that post up? It can be tonight or tomorrow or sometime in the next week on Facebook, and just see what we get for comments and how many states we get out of the bay, off the bat, and can go from there.
And do it.
Okay. Is there anything else on articles? Okay, we'll move on to marketing brochures. So we had a couple made up. There was spelling errors on several of them. So some of them were taken down outright. Some of them were fixed and put back up. We did talk about there's a discrepancy between our logo and some of the paperwork. Our logo had an apostrophe in between the R and the S on breeders. And the paperwork did not. So officers met quickly, and we decided that we were going to take the apostrophe off. And so we're going to be updating all of the brochures that are out there. I'll repost the ones on the Facebook for people to use. And for the time being, those main couple will be the official article, the official brochures. And as soon as they're completely error-free, or as error-free as we can get them, they'll be available on the website and on the Facebook page, the Facebook group, and people can download them and print them out as they please to put with hatching egg orders, put on their website, put on social media, whatever they would like. So just if you see some shuffling around of that, just know that we're editing those to make sure that they're as accurate as possible. And yeah, if you do have old copies of the logo, keep a lookout. I should get that updated. Both the new file will be posted and we'll try and get the ones on the website also updated to not include the apostrophe. And then people that want to change it over to the new one can do that as soon as possible, so we don't keep spreading the old one around. Same with the old flyers and designs. If you see the old flyers, the new ones aren't quite out yet. So just know that the old ones are out of date and try not to spread them around. That was the main thing for the marketing brochures. We want to make sure that everything obviously represents us very well. We want to make sure that we've got everything as accurate and as formal as we can have it. Make sure that we don't have big spelling, grammar errors or anything like that. Anything else on marketing brochures?
just a note on the logo. We had discussed doing a second version of it that said member of or something like that. So have we done that yet, or is that still in the works?
We have not. That is something I can work on this upcoming month too.
Okay, cool. No rush, but I think people would like that. I know I would. So
We did have a design coming through for t-shirts. Rebecca was working on that. So we have the design and it should hopefully, now that we have a new bank account, we'll be able to do a print on demand. So when people order it, it just gets shipped straight to their house. We don't have to worry about being a middleman or anything like that. And that's just the ACBA. It's not our logo directly. It's very, very similar. That same quail graphic, the ACBA, it says when we're established and has our name on it. So that'll be coming out soon as well, probably within the next week or two. And then, yeah, we can also get the logo or something very similar to the logo saying I am a member of the ACBA. The next thing on the list is operational handbook updates. Jennifer, do you want to cover that one?
Well, we're going to add it to the website. I'll be doing that probably tomorrow. I can add it up there. Since we're talking about the logo, can I suggest that we put in some parameters on the use of the logo? That I mean, I came across some stuff earlier on another website's use of the logos. Do we want to put any parameters on that? People who can use it or not? Or we want to just leave it alone?
I'm trying to pull up what you had copied from the other group. As for what were you thinking as far as like parameters or restrictions on it, just for everyone to?
I mean, it's still just going to be like an honor thing, but basically they have to be a member to use it, kind of thing. Have our permission to use it, be a member of the ACBA to use it. Can't change it. That it belongs to us.
That was
Might
one
be
of the reasons I was thinking we would have basically two versions of it. So there's the official ACBA logo that the officers or people on committees are directly using. But then if I just want to throw it on my website for my own business, having the basically ACBA breeder or member for anyone that's in the breeders directory. And that one would have to obviously be not as controlled. So there's the honor system, like you were saying. But there needs to be some sort of difference, I think. If you see someone using the logo, it needs to be clear, are they doing that on behalf of the ACBA or are they doing that because they're a member of the ACBA?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Inputs from other people on this one. I'm curious where other people are standing on it.
Do you guys have like a copyright or patent, or I don't know what it is for the image, but is that like filed with anybody?
It is
No.
not, as far as I am aware, but I've looked at trademarking my logo and it's almost a 2-year process and several hundreds of dollars.
Oh, Melinta. Okay.
Yes, it's a process. You have to have a
Yikes.
trademark attorney and all kinds of stuff.
Oh man.
Yeah, that might be later on down the road.
Right.
I don't know that it would really, I don't see anybody misusing it per se. Like I don't know a situation in which they would. But I do like the member of or breeder of um, idea to have the two different logos. So like the one that you guys have right now, just for like official stuff, the flyers and whatnot. But if it's on the flyers that we're able to print out, say we go to a fair or a show or something, are we still able to use it? But I don't see anybody using it that's not a member either. So
Yeah. I think as far as like if it's on a brochure or something that was like that we went through, we made sure it was accurate, up to date, everything like that. I don't see any issue with people being able to print that out or use that in any way. I shouldn't say in any way, but in reasonable ways. With the I don't know, the official logo, and then having the member one, like proud member of ACBA, being they can use it on their website, their Facebook page, whatever. Just to kind of distinguish this is what the ACBA has done, and this is like an approved ACBA material, and this is someone that's a member of the ACBA.
yeah, I like having the two different ones.
Okay. That's something I can get done this month. Anything else on operational handbook or just general procedure things? Okay. And then, yeah, the last thing we had kind of ties into the general overall discussion, the newsletter. So we were originally going to send it out in September, is when we were going to start sending it out. And then we didn't get all of the information we wanted for the membership spotlight, so we weren't able to send it out. Our thought originally was sending one out every month, and then every month would feature a different member. And just have some fun things about them. So, like how long they've been raising it, what they want to focus on, their favorite varieties, just kind of some fun facts, get to know you, get to showcase a few people, and help everyone get to know each other a little bit more, is from when we were first making the September one, it's hard to find right now stuff that we can use to fill up the whole thing. So looking for different ideas. Do we want to switch it to quarterly? Do we still want to have a monthly newsletter? Do we want to wait until maybe January when we're doing a little bit more or a little bit more established before we start putting newsletters out? Or is it something where if we get more members interested, we can do a membership spotlight and we can send one out for October or November right away? So open to thoughts, open to interpretation, and then kind of building off of the discussion, we want to hear more from you guys. So what are you working on? What are some things you want we can help you with, that the organization can do, some things you want us to see or see if we can put together? Yeah, just kind of starting an open discussion on what people are thinking.
I
For
would say,
the newsletter, no, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
No, you. I think Bree is using the word "we" a lot, and just to be very clear, this kind of all fell on her shoulders, and it's a lot of time and work to put a newsletter together. So, in every club that I've been involved in the past, there's usually someone that does the newsletter, and that's kind of their thing. And so, adding this to Bree's plate is a lot right now, I think. So that's why my vote was kind of, why don't we start quarterly and then maybe move it to monthly later? But maybe waiting till January is a good idea, unless there's somebody that wants to take up that project and just knock it out every month. But it is a lot of work and it's a lot of time to put that together. So I thought, just my personal opinion, Bree's doing a whole bunch of other stuff for the organization. And do we really want her using all of her efforts to produce the newsletter right now, or to do everything else? So that was kind of my perspective.
Why not have like an editor or somebody that, you know, would act like a specific person put together the newsletter?
Yeah, I see Angie in the chat said she's a technical writer by trade, so happy to help with the newsletter. Though she's no quail expert, that's okay. Most of it is, I can send you what I had written up for September. It's in Canva, so it's a pretty basic template. You can use the same thing for most of the months, just changing, obviously, like the general headings and stuff like that. Most of it's just what's coming up, some general updates, obviously the membership spotlight, and things can be tweaked and changed or added onto as needed. So I'm happy to share that.
Do you want to
What
do
if we
like a
had like
holiday
sorry.
newsletter? We're going to do just like a general holiday newsletter and not necessarily call it quarterly or monthly, or just kind of the end of 2023, and then kind of reassess if we want to do monthly or quarterly in 2024. How about that?
That works for me.
Okay.
Could we somehow
So let's work
incorporate
on,
like a myths? Sorry, Mike.
oh, that's a cool idea. I like that. Yeah, let's do that. And then we can talk offline, I guess, about structure, organization, kind of make a template. And then I think that'll make it a lot easier going forward.
Yeah, Crystal, I missed what your comment was.
For the newsletter, because you were saying how we still kind of need to get together, like what kind of content to put in there.
Mhm.
I had watched, I believe it was on Katernik's Corner. It was a YouTube video that was like all about myths, you know, around quail, and they just kind of went through, and I believe it was you and Terry, I think. Okay. So like, what if we did that? Because I'm in several groups. I'm in local groups, I'm in nationwide groups, and it seems like there is just, there's at least 20 or 30 things that I see almost daily in these things. So I think having like a myth corner or myth busted or myth yes or no, or, you know, something like that. And then just kind of go into detail as to maybe how the myth got started or why some people might believe this myth, and then go into what actually, you know, the real thing behind everything. So
It's a good idea. And it just occurred to me, because I use Squarespace too, but on Squarespace with the Google email, they have a format for the newsletters. It's all sitting there. You just got to plug and play. So it never occurred to me till just the second that that's sitting there, then we can just utilize that.
Yeah, awesome. So if we want to, Angie, if you want to reach out to us on Facebook, any one of the officers, and we can get a group chat going. I can share what we have. We can, Jennifer can share the template for Squarespace, and we can kind of figure out what we're thinking and go from there on it, including little things like maybe a myth of the newsletter or something like that, and throwing in like member spotlights, just keeping it a lot of good info for people, and also kind of keeping it fun and yeah, worth reading. As far as other Olive members on there, what are some things you want to see us do more? That could be anywhere from you want to see different things that we're going to, like different events, or more updates or tips, tricks, helpful advice for like getting into egg things, into more of like the classroom studies. Are you looking for more articles or content? What are people wanting from the club right now, I guess?
I would love to know how to get into shows. I've never, we raised rabbits for the last 3 years. I've always wanted to get into those. And it seems like it's a pain to get into the shows for the rabbits. Everybody's like, oh yeah, it's so easy. You just go here. And then there's like a million different things that I have to choose from, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So maybe how to get connected with local, 4-H groups or whoever puts the shows on. Just a very general, I know every area is probably different, but because that's something I'd be interested in going to, and trying to represent the quail and get them interested. I just have no idea who to talk to. I have no idea what organizations to reach out to. I don't know who does that kind of stuff. And I've never been in shows before, or worked with 4-H as a kid or anything like that. So I have no idea where to start.
Yeah.
Are you showing what do you raise now? Rabbits?
Rabbits, chicken, and quail.
Do you show chickens?
No, I've never been in the show circuit for any of them.
Where are
I've
you?
never even like been to them. West Michigan. Oh no, they have tons of them all over the place.
Just go and start talking to them. They're chicken people. They'll talk to you. I mean, they'll talk to anybody about it. I mean, we'll talk to doorknobs about chickens. That's not a problem. And there's usually a rabbit show pretty close by, wherever I've been with the chicken shows, there's usually a rabbit show.
The
And if I
rabbit shows are
could say
usually
this-
at least like 1 or 2 hour drive from us, so I don't, like get into a lot. I don't see a lot of sharing of the information. I usually have to go to the website for ARBA in order to find where the shows are. And I can't remember, did I bring that up at the last meeting about having like a show tab on the website?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I was gonna say we're looking into the events page on adding more. We can add, like, we have different ones tagged as shows versus meetings and things like that.
Okay.
So for chicken shows, you would go to the poultry show central.com. And that's a list of all of the chicken shows. And I'm sure the rabbit people have the same side of crazy that we do. And
Oh yeah.
there's never going to be a show next door. I mean, the closest show to me is an hour and a half. They're all traveling type things. And so it's a time commitment. But then you would just once you find that those are clubs, no different than what we're doing here. And those are all volunteers in their clubs setting up that show. And you would just talk to them, the coordinator or the secretary or the vice president, and you would say, hey, I want to set up a table and talk about quail. Or can I bring quail to the show in the open section? And it's up to their discretion if they want to do that. The bigger shows, they might be more accommodating, honestly. The bigger shows might be. The smaller ones, they just look at you like you fell off a turnip truck yesterday. So I mean, I'm just being honest with you. In some of the shows, they'll do anything if that means renting a cage for $2 to make enough money to put on the next show. So you just have to talk to those committees, no different than what we're talking to here.
Would that be something where you're looking for information as in like an article type, or something where having a meeting, a separate meeting outside of these weekly ones where people can, like, scheduling it maybe for November, December after fall shows or something before spring shows start, where people can kind of get together, a Zoom meeting like this, talk about it, ask questions to people that have done it before? Is that something you guys would be interested in?
Talk about shows.
Yeah, just like setting them up, how you would even get started in there.
I mean,
Who to
I'm game
contact.
for showing crazy. I mean, I can talk chicken crazy all day long, like how to have a bath and do their nails and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I can do that all day. If you want to set that up, I'll talk. And I'm sure other crazy chicken people will talk. And the quail aren't going to be any different. I mean, I've never given a quail a bath, but I can certainly try between now and then and see what happens.
I've done it. It's easy. It's way easier than a chicken.
I mean, the chickens just lay down and go, oh man, this is nice. What was I thinking?
Yeah, my quail weren't quite as happy. They tried to fly. It's doing it in a little bucket. It's nice.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, you don't even have to hold the chickens down. They just lay down and go, okay, well, you missed the spot over here. I mean, but if you want shows broke down, I mean, that's pretty easy. Just go to a show and start talking to chicken people. They'll tell you everything. So, and I'll tell you something else if you haven't been to a chicken show. Some of those Bantams, my quail are bigger than those Bantams. I mean, they're tiny. I don't know why they don't want quail in those shows, because my quail will eat some of those moderns. Like 3 ounces of meat in their things. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know they got that small.
Moderns, look up a modern chicken. They're like, what, 3 ounces with legs? They look like toothpicks, and then there's a little body of a chicken on the top. It's like 2 chicken nuggets on either side. Seriously.
The little Saramas too. They got the puffy chest and they strut around.
I don't know. I think the Saramas might be bigger than the modern, some of them.
Yeah. Some of them.
Yeah, I mean, they're crazy small. But yeah, you just got to go. I mean, if you haven't experienced a whole mass of call ducks talking to you, you haven't experienced life. They're loud. So, but the last show I was at in Bowling Green, they were more than happy to let me set up a table. I mean, not very many people cared, but I did it, and I talked to a few people. So, but the committee didn't care. So.
Yeah. That was the same for Northwoods, and I think Kristen did one in internationals too. Was there, as far as table goes, like if you're looking to set up a promotional booth, they're usually more than willing. Most of the bigger shows, especially, already have promotional booths coming in, and then as far as like actually getting them into like in on show row cages, bigger shows I feel like tend to get a little bit pickier about that, just because how are you going to judge it, who are you going to have judge it, what are you judging by? You don't really have answers for all of that yet. There's some fun shows, like I know Fond du Lac in Wisconsin is coming up at the end of the month. They're actually letting quail into show row. They've done it for years. I think they judge it based on market meat quality, and they call it a day, and it's not worth points or anything for the ACBA, so it's just kind of a fun show. So yeah, definitely reach out to see some of the really small ones will have no problem with it because they just want to get cages filled. So like especially your county fairs and stuff like that. If you can get people in and people interested, they would love it. So yeah.
Yeah, those shows are run off of renting those cage spaces, which are usually $2 or $3. And they need those filled. Like there's a show that's 3 hours from me that was scheduled for Saturday, and they just put out an email that they canceled it because they couldn't sell enough cages. But I guarantee you, if somebody had said, "Hey, I'll bring 100 quail for $2 a piece," they might have still put the show on. So
Oh, yeah.
the groups are dissolving. Those smaller groups are dissolving. So.
And even like fairs in Houghton, they waived the cage fees because they just wanted the barn filled. So they wanted people to be able to walk in. So it cost me nothing to bring 20 quail in, and they tested them there for me. Like I didn't have to pay for polarum testing, didn't have to pay for cage space. They provided coops, they provided waters, feed, everything on top of that. So a lot of them are extremely accommodating. If you show up and you're interested in and you're happy about what you're doing, they're pretty happy to work with you most of the time, especially the smaller ones.
Yeah, it's been the easiest thing to get involved in.
Yeah. So I think we can throw a thing into the Facebook group, see if there'd be an interest in having a separate meeting, probably in the spring before the big show circuits start. And just a rundown of who you would contact, things like that, talking about shows. And if people are interested in it, we can get enough people interested, pick a date, and yeah, Jennifer, you can run it because you've probably done a lot of it. So
Yeah.
okay, sounds good. Is there any other things people want to discuss, bring up? We've got a couple minutes left.
You said something about ordering shirts. Will there be any other, like, car magnets, buttons, anything like that?
So that's a plugin on the website, and that would technically be under Rebecca's purview since she's been doing the website, but since she's not here. So it's a plugin that Squarespace offers that just attaches to the website. And so you would still go to our website and order it, but they would be shipping it to you. And I think they have a whole giant array of stuff you can order.
So we can definitely get shirts going. We can put a poll up, see if there's anything else, if hats or buttons or stickers, what people want. And if there's enough interest, throw more things up there. It's not a huge priority. It's just kind of nice to have a shirt to wear sometimes, especially when you're going to shows and stuff like that, just to promote it and get people talking about it. So, yeah. Any other things? Otherwise, we need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I did it last time.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Then a second.
I second it.
There we go. Okay. We'll talk to you guys next month and get the meeting minutes up and on YouTube as soon as we can. So,
All right.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
guys.
bye.
Bye.